I am Somesh Pathak, Assistant Professor in the Department of Management Studies, Uttarakhand Open University. Today, we will understand the terms which most of us have already heard or are performing in real life, that is, the gig economy and moonlighting. Moonlighting, as the word self expresses, means working beyond the working hours, that is, after the sun sets and the world shines in the reflection of the moon to earn a passive additional income to support for one's expenses. Gig economy means undertaking short-term assignments at once to add to the primary income for a better livelihood. Now, all of us have been using food delivery apps for our never-ending cravings from our favorite restaurants and cafes. Some of us might have tutored students after a hectic office hours or purchased handmade goods from someone selling it on the streets nearby. These are not just any random isolated actions, but an ecosystem. They together tell a larger story about the work profiles in India today. So let me begin with a small and relatable scenario. Let's take the case of Haldwani. Suppose there's a man named Rahul who teaches at a local school for a salary enough for his survival. He leaves at 4 in the evening, comes home, prepares for dinner, and the moment the clock strikes 6, he is tutoring 3 children from the neighborhood for the next few hours. That amount earned is paid for his younger brother's coaching and small health emergency in his family. For Rahul, moonlighting is not an ambition alone. It is more of a cared and shared responsibility. And that's where many side gigs or hustle begin. Family needs, education costs, or a desire to learn something new. We talk about the cities like Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. We have many other stories to follow. Siddharth, a young software engineer, takes up freelance coding projects over weekends. He uses those gigs or assignments to build a portfolio for himself so that he could start a startup he hopes to begin someday. Mehul, a homemaker on the other hand, sells hand-embroidered saris through Instagram, where people become sellers, market their own products, and sells them online. Now the income generated through that extra amount of work and hours put together gives them financial independence and creative space. Now then there are delivery people, riders, who works on shift to make their ends meet. These are what? These are their lived choices one makes. Some can be empowering and some are hard to digest. To understand why this pattern is growing, we need to learn about a few theories from the economics and sociological point of view. First, the theory of labor market flexibility. It says, when markets allow employers to hire and fire easily and when contracts are up for a limited time, work becomes more flexible for organizations but less secure for workers. Technology and online platforms make the transition easy from one work to another in less time. But the cost of it often falls on the worker in the form of uncertain income and few protections. Second, the idea of portfolio careers. Instead of one long job, people increasingly build a portfolio of work, multiple smaller careers that together make a livelihood. Portfolio careers can be resilient. If one income falls, they can depend on the other career at the back end. But this too demands constant time management and skill updation. Considering the Indian market scenario, portfolio careers can pose both opportunity and risk for the people. Now, since 2019, post-pandemic, digital platforms grew rapidly in India. Freelancing portals, food delivery apps, and tutoring platforms expanded into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities as well. The consequence? Millions of people can find work without relocating. That can be seen as a positive sign. Yet, most of this work lacks standard employment benefits. No paid leave, no employer pension protections or contributions, and limited health coverage. Now let's take another real example. In Mumbai, a group of female delivery riders formed a small collective to share tips about safety and shift timings. They began forming a local platform for better grievance redressal after some riders faced unfair deactivations. Their collective action led to a quicker reinstatement in few cases and drew public attention as well to their biased rating systems. What does this show? This shows that something is very important in the case of an organization. When there is an organization, it matters, even when the work is platform mediated. And then there are also some legal issues. Indian courts and regulators have debated for a while now whether gig workers should be classified as employees or independent contractors. Talking about the classification, when classified under a category, it classifies everything. It provides them minimum wages, can work for their social security, and it can also help in bargaining their rights. Some solutions are being discussed worldwide and slowly and steadily in India as well. That includes portable benefits that follow the workers across gigs or assignments. and can also create a new category of dependent contractors, giving limited protections without full employee status. This is not a small achievement. In a country like India, and careful understanding to observe India's diverse labor market is essential. Now let's return to the topic. If you are considering moonlighting, here are some practical tips to know for your own understanding. The first one could be you have to know your contract. Some employers explicitly restrict outside work arrangements. Others might remain silent. If and when in doubt, always ask the authorities concerned. Second is you have to track your time and energy. A side income is useful only if it does not burn you out. Third, build a buffer fund. Even 1 month's expenses saved can make a huge difference in your pocket. The fourth thing that you can do is you can join communities. You can follow fellow freelancers, delivery rider groups, or tutor networks that share practical advice, and sometimes they all come together to work for collective bargaining power. But we must be honest, not all stories end with growth. Some can also end in exhaustion, broken relationships, or debt when gig assignment is inconsistent. That's why collective responses matter. Better platform transparency, social security, and accessible financial services like microfinance, micro savings, and credit for the self-employed and for the people who are working in gig platforms. Before we wrap up, a quick understanding of the Indian market ecosystem. In India, the work we do is related to family expectations, social respect, and self-identity. Moonlighting can shift those dynamics. For some, extra income brings pride and independence, while for others, admitting to a side job can feel like attaching to a stigma, especially if the main job was supposed to be secure. Shifting cultural attitudes to respect diverse ways of earning will help reduce shame and encourage better protections. Now to close the argument, the gig economy and moonlighting are reshaping work in India in their mysterious complex ways, mixing resilience with risk, creativity with precarity. Our choices as citizens, employers, policymakers, and customers will shape whether this shift expands opportunity or deepens insecurity. Now, if you're moonlighting, I hope you find balance and protection. But if you're hiring or building platforms, I hope you build with dignity in mind. Thank you.